Hi everyone! Do you believe your money is out there while you are stuck in here? Most people spend their entire lives chasing wealth as if it were a distant finish line they have to reach through sheer physical force. They think of their bank account as something separate from their soul. But as a strategist who has studied the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern physics, I am here to tell you that this separation is the greatest lie of the Maya. According to the groundbreaking work of Gregg Braden and the laws of the divine matrix, there is no out there. There is only a field of intelligent energy that connects everything in the universe. In this field, you are already quantumly entangled with every possibility of your life, including the version of you that is immensely wealthy. The money isn't something you get, it is a frequency you bind yourself to. If you are struggling, it's not because you aren't working hard enough, it's because you are vibrationally entangled with the lack of money instead of the presence of it. Today, I'm going to show you how to hack this cosmic web and use the science of entanglement to collapse the distance between your current reality and your financial dreams. But before we dive into the mechanics of the matrix, we need to establish our connection. If you are ready to stop being a victim of distance and start being the architect of your own precipitation, write our activation phrase in the comments. I am the matrix. This is your declaration of sovereignty. It's you acknowledging that you are the center of the web. I'm Caroline, and what I've discovered in my journey is that the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Throughout this video, I'll provide the roadmap to re-engineer your internal state so that wealth becomes an inevitability. Stay with me until the end, where I'll share the essential books and a free PDF guide on mirror hours to help you track your progress in the matrix. Subscribe now to join our community of sovereign initiates. Let's look at why distance is an illusion. The science of entanglement, the end of distance. Let's start with the hard science, because if you want to master the divine matrix, you need to stop thinking in metaphors and start thinking in mechanics. In 1997, physicists at the University of Geneva conducted an experiment that changed our understanding of reality forever. They took a single photon, a particle of light, and split it into two. They kept one particle in the lab and sent the other one miles away through fiber optic cables. What they discovered was staggering. Whatever they did to the first particle, the second particle reacted instantly and identically, as if they were still part of the same entity. There was no travel time for the information. It was instantaneous. It defied the speed of light. This is what science calls quantum entanglement, or as Albert Einstein famously called it, spooky action at a distance. It proves that once two things are joined, they are forever connected, regardless of the physical distance between them. Now, why does this matter to your bank account? Because you, me, and every dollar that exists are made of the same subatomic stuff. At the moment of the Big Bang, or the initial precipitation, everything in this universe was condensed into a single point of infinite density called a singularity. That means you were once physically one with the wealth you are now trying to attract. You aren't trying to create a connection, you are trying to reactivate an entanglement that is already hardwired into the fabric of the matrix. As an independent strategist, I realized that my struggle with money was actually a denial of science. I was acting as if the money was a separate particle, miles away, and that I had to build a bridge to reach it. I thought I had to chase it through time and space using the 1% mind. But according to Gregg Braden, the divine matrix is a superconductor of information. The distance between you and your millions is effectively zero. In physics, this is known as non-locality. It means that in the field, there is no here and no there. Everything is happening everywhere, all at once. The only reason you don't see the money in your hands right now is because you are vibrationally focused on the separation instead of the entanglement.
To understand the depth of this, we have to look at string theory. Scientists suggest that at the core of all matter are tiny vibrating strings of energy. Everything you see, your house, your car, your bills, is just a different note being played on these strings. When you are entangled with poverty, your strings are vibrating at a low, heavy frequency. When you are entangled with prosperity, they vibrate at a high, luminous frequency. Because of entanglement, when you change the tune of your own strings, the strings of the wealth you desire must synchronize with you. It's not magic, it's harmonic resonance. When you say, "I want to be rich," you are unconsciously affirming that you are not rich. You are highlighting the distance. You are telling the matrix, there is a gap here. And because the matrix is a perfect mirror, it keeps the wealth over there, because your internal state is over here. To bridge this, you must understand that your quantum double, that version of you who is already prosperous, is currently entangled with the physical version of you sitting in that chair. You are the same photon split into two different timelines. The connection is unbroken, it is just unobserved.
This is where the identity transition becomes technical. In my own journey, I had to stop looking for proof of my wealth in the external world. I had to realize that the proof was in the entanglement itself. In quantum physics, the observer effect states that the act of observing a particle changes its behavior. If you observe your lack, you lock the lack into place. If you observe your entanglement with wealth, you begin the process of precipitation. If you can conceive of the wealth, it means you are already vibrationally linked to it. If the connection didn't exist, the desire wouldn't even be possible. You cannot desire something you aren't already entangled with. Therefore, your very ambition is the scientific evidence that the money is already yours in the field of potentials. Think of the matrix as a vast, invisible net. Every time you move, every time you think, every time you feel, you are sending a ripple through that net. Because you are entangled with everything, those ripples reach the wealth sectors of the net instantly. Most people fail because they try to fix their finances through the 1% mind, the linear, slow mind that believes in distance, effort, and time. They try to work harder to bridge the gap. But in the divine matrix, effort is often a sign of resistance. If you are pushing, it means you don't believe you are entangled. A sovereign initiate doesn't push, they align. The mechanics of the quantum double tell us that we have time holes or fendas where information is exchanged between our present self and our future self. When you accept the science of entanglement, you stop sending lack through those holes. You start realizing that the person you want to become is already broadcasting the instructions for your success. But that broadcast is blocked by your belief in separation. You are like a radio that is tuned to a scarcity frequency, but complaining that it can't hear the abundance music. The music is already in the room. The waves are passing through your body right now. You just haven't adjusted your internal dial to match the frequency of the broadcast. Furthermore, we must address the law of correspondence from the Kybalion through the lens of Braden. As above, so below. As it is in the quantum field, so it must be in the physical world. If the entanglement is a fact in the subatomic world, it is a legal requirement in the physical world. The only thing that delays the arrival of your millions is the density of the Maya. The physical world is slow and heavy. It's like moving through molasses, but the entanglement is light speed. Your job is to maintain the internal state of wealth long enough for the slow, heavy physical world to catch up. Most people unentangle themselves the moment they see a bill or a low balance. They look at the physical world, the dead past, and they let it dictate their living present. This is a strategic error. When you do this, you re-entangle with the old version of you. You have to be spiritually stubborn.
You have to look at the lack and say, this is just a lagging reflection. My true entanglement is with the prosperity I have already commanded. This is not delusion. It is a sophisticated understanding of quantum lag time.
In this block, I want you to sit with this reality. Distance is a choice. If you feel that money is far away, you are choosing to observe the split rather than the unity. You are choosing to play the role of the separated photon. You must embrace the fact that you are an integrated part of the divine matrix. You are the web, you are the ripples, and you are the destination. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to find the right opportunity. You need to stop the interference of doubt that is preventing the entanglement from becoming a physical precipitation. The moment you accept that the connection is instantaneous, you stop the chase. And the moment you stop the chase, the wealth stops running. This is the paradox of the initiate. You get everything when you realize you are already connected to everything. You are a non-local being living in a local body. You have the power to influence the other side of the net simply by shifting the vibration of where you stand right now. In the next block, we are going to talk about the divine matrix as a cosmic mirror and why your unconscious commands are the very things keeping your bank account in a state of stasis. We're going to decode how the matrix reads your heart signal and how to stop it from reflecting your past failures back into your future. We will explore the quantum connection that dictates the flow of every dollar in your life. The divine matrix, the cosmic mirror. Now that we have established that distance is a physical illusion and that you are already entangled with the wealth you seek, we must understand the machine that governs this connection. Gregg Braden calls it the divine matrix, but you can think of it as a cosmic mirror. This is a fundamental concept for any independent strategist. The universe does not have ears to hear your prayers, but it has a nervous system to feel your vibrations. The matrix is a neutral field of energy that acts as a bridge between your internal world and the external reality. Its only job is to reflect back to you the image of what you believe to be true. The problem is that most people don't know how to speak the language of the matrix. They use words, and words are the weakest form of command. You can say, "I am a millionaire" 10,000 times a day, but if your internal state is vibrating with the frequency of "I can't pay my rent," the matrix ignores your words and reflects your fear. Why? Because the matrix is a mirror, and a mirror doesn't reflect what you want, it reflects what is there. If you stand in front of a mirror and say, "I want a blue shirt," but you are wearing a red shirt, the mirror will continue to show you a red shirt. This is the mirror trap that keeps the masses in poverty. To break this cycle, you must understand that the divine matrix is a holographic field. In a hologram, every tiny part contains the image of the whole. This means that your bank account is not separate from your mindset. It is a holographic fragment of your frequency. If you want to change the fragment, your money, you must change the source code, your vibration. Before we decode how to do this through the heart, I want to see who is ready to stop being a victim of the reflection. If you understand that your reality is a mirror and you are ready to change the image, comment "Quantum Connection" below. This is your signal to the matrix that you are now a conscious observer, not just a passive reflection. As a sovereign initiate, I had to face the brutal honesty of the matrix. When I was struggling during my identity transition, I looked at my lack and blamed the economy, the timing, and the market. But through the lens of Braden's work, I realized that the market was just a mirror. I was vibrationally entangled with the identity of the struggling expert. I was sending out a signal of, "I have to prove my worth," and the matrix was reflecting back a reality where I constantly had to struggle to prove myself. The moment I shifted my internal signal to "my worth is an inherent fact," the quantum connection changed. The reflection shifted because the source shifted. The matrix uses the quantum double as a sort of blueprint carrier. Every night during the fendas, or gaps in time, your current state is compared to the archive of futures.
If you spend your day reacting to the red shirt, your current lack, you are telling the matrix to keep that blueprint for tomorrow. You are effectively ordering a repeat of today. To the independent strategist, this is a strategic failure. You are using your most powerful tool, your attention, to reinforce the very thing you want to escape.
According to the law of polarity from the Kabbalion, wealth and poverty are just two ends of the same scale. They are the same thing, just different degrees of vibration. The divine matrix doesn't see good or bad, it only sees degrees. If you are at a low degree, scarcity, the matrix reflects low degree circumstances. Your job isn't to find wealth, but to polarize yourself toward the other end of the scale. You do this by refusing to give your emotional blood to the current reflection. You must develop the ability to look at an empty bank account and see it as a temporary holographic glitch while you maintain the internal frequency of abundance. This is what Braden calls the language of the matrix. It is a language of belief and feeling. But here is the technical detail that most people miss. The matrix doesn't respond to a wish. A wish implies that you don't have it. A belief implies that it is a fact. When you are truly entangled with your prosperous future, you don't hope it happens. You know it is already done in the field. This certainty is the specific frequency that makes the matrix bend to your will. It is the checkmate feeling we discussed before, applied to the cosmic web. Furthermore, we must address the law of cause and effect. Most people think money is the cause of happiness or security. In the divine matrix, money is always the effect. The cause is your vibrational entanglement. If you try to fix the effect without changing the cause, you are like a person trying to paint the reflection in the mirror instead of painting their own face. It's a waste of energy. It's why people who win the lottery often lose it all. Their internal image didn't change, so the matrix eventually pulled the reflection back to match the source. The sovereign initiate understands that the matrix is a participatory universe. We are not just watching the show, we are writing the script, acting the parts, and building the set through our focus. If you want to experience the quantum leap, you must start treating the physical world with a certain level of strategic indifference. You acknowledge the reflection, but you don't own it. You say, I see that the mirror is showing lack, but I know that I am the matrix and I am choosing a different image. This block is your wake-up call to stop fighting the reflection. Stop trying to fix your life from the outside. The divine matrix is waiting for a new command. It is a vast, silent ocean of potential, and your feeling is the stone you throw into that ocean to create ripples. In the next block, we are going to dive into the power of the heart. I will show you why your brain is too noisy to command the matrix, and why your heart is actually the strongest magnet in your body, capable of generating a field 5,000 times more powerful than your thoughts. We will learn how to engineer the heart signal to attract capital with scientific precision. The heart as the strongest magnet, the 5,000x power. Now we move from the mirror to the engine. If the divine matrix is the field that connects everything, we need to ask, what is the strongest transmitter in the human body capable of influencing that field? Most people, especially those stuck in the 1% mind, believe it's the brain. They spend all their time on mindset, affirmations, and logical planning. But science, and specifically the research shared by Gregg Braden and the HeartMath Institute, has proven that the brain is a secondary player. The real power station of the independent strategist is the heart. The heart generates an electromagnetic field that is approximately 60 times stronger electrically and up to 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the field produced by the brain. Let that sink in for a moment. If you're trying to think yourself into wealth while your heart is feeling the pinch of poverty, you are fighting a losing battle. You are trying to move a mountain with a toothpick while a bulldozer is sitting idle in your chest. The matrix doesn't care about your thoughts. It responds to the massive magnetic pull of your heart signal. This is the strongest magnet in your biological arsenal.
In the science of quantum entanglement, magnets are what align particles. If you want to align the wealth particles in the matrix with your physical reality, you must engineer your heart's magnetic field to match the frequency of prosperity. This isn't about being emotional or nice. This is quantum engineering. When your heart and brain are in coherence, a state where they are vibrating in the same harmonic rhythm, you create a carrier wave that can literally rewrite the holographic data of your life. As a sovereign initiate, I had to learn the hard way that my brain's anxiety loops were creating a chaotic electromagnetic signature. I was sending static into the matrix. I was thinking about millions, but feeling like 1,000. The matrix saw the 5,000x signal of lack from my heart and ignored the tiny thought of wealth from my brain. It wasn't until I applied the coherence protocol that things shifted. I had to learn to generate the feeling of "it is done" in my chest, independent of what my eyes were seeing. That feeling is the magnetic hook that pulls the future into the now. Braden explains that the heart is the bridge between the physical and the non-physical. It translates your beliefs into the language of the matrix, vibrational waves. When you feel gratitude, for example, your heart sends out a coherent, wide-reaching signal that says, "I have already received." The matrix, being a mirror, sees this receipt and must provide the physical equivalent. This is why gratitude is the most powerful financial strategy ever discovered, not because it's moral, but because it is magnetically efficient. Most people are magnetically bankrupt. They are constantly sending out signals of "I need," "I want," and "I hope." In the language of the heart, "I want" is a signal of "I don't have." The matrix receives that signal and faithfully reflects back a reality where you continue to want. You are literally using your 5,000x power to keep the money away from you. To the independent strategist, this is a massive waste of resources. You must stop broadcasting your needs and start broadcasting your arrivals. This is where the identity transition becomes a physical reality. You have to train your heart to beat with the rhythm of someone who is already prosperous. This isn't fake it till you make it. It is align it till you find it. You are using your heart as a compass to navigate the archive of futures. When you find the wealth track, your heart will feel a specific expansion, a sense of peace and certainty. That is your confirmation that the entanglement is locked in. Think of your heart as the search engine of the divine matrix. Your brain types in the query, but your heart is what hits enter and pulls up the results. If the signal is weak or confused, the results are messy. If the signal is clear and powerful, the precipitation is swift. The sovereign initiate doesn't wait for the external world to give them a reason to feel prosperous. They know that the feeling is the cause and the money is the effect. They master the internal magnet first, knowing that the physical metal, the cash, has no choice but to follow the magnetic pull. In this block, I am challenging you to stop being a brain-led reactor and start being a heart-led creator. Stop trying to figure out the how with your 1% mind. The how is the matrix's job. Your job is to provide the what and the frequency. When you anchor the feeling of prosperity in your heart, you are essentially tagging that future in the archive. Your quantum double then has the coordinates to bring that information into your current fenda or gap in time. In the next block, we are going to talk about feeling as the language. I will show you how to move from emotions to convictions and how to use the holographic command to collapse the distance once and for all. We will also include a special call to action to help this channel continue bringing these high-level decodings to you. But for now, remember, your heart is the most expensive piece of technology you own. Start using it like a strategist.
Feeling as the language, the holographic command. If the heart is the magnet, then the feeling is the specific code you're transmitting into the divine matrix. But we must be very precise here. As an independent strategist, you cannot afford to be vague. Most people confuse emotion with feeling. Emotion is a reaction to something that happened. Feeling is the conscious act of generating a state before it happens.
Gregg Braden teaches that the language the Matrix understands is not the prayer of asking, but the feeling of having already received. This is what I call the holographic command. When you desire money, you're essentially creating a wave of lack. Desire is a hungry ghost. It lives in the future and starves in the present. If you tell the Matrix, I want to be prosperous, the Matrix, being a perfect holographic mirror, receives the frequency of wanting and delivers a reality that matches. It keeps you in a perpetual state of wanting. To the sovereign initiate, this is a loop of failure. To break it, you must use the command of the already done. You don't ask for the money, you inhabit the state where the money is a logical consequence of who you are. This is the shift from trying to be to being. In my own identity transition, I had to stop acting like a person seeking success and start acting like a person managing abundance. I had to learn that the Matrix doesn't distinguish between a real physical event and a vividly felt internal event. If you can occupy the feeling of being prosperous so completely that your body believes it is happening now, you have issued a holographic command that the Matrix must fulfill. This is the precipitation process. You are providing the blueprint. The field provides the matter. Before we move into the mechanics of how to stabilize this command, let's make sure you are anchored in this frequency. If you find value in these high-level strategic decodings and you are ready to master the language of the Matrix, subscribe to the channel now. By joining this community, you are moving away from the noise of the masses and into the signal of the sovereign. Your subscription helps us keep this lighthouse of quantum wisdom burning, ensuring that more people can wake up from the Maya of scarcity. The secret to the holographic command is sensory vividness. You don't just think about money, you feel the weight of it. You feel the relief in your shoulders when you realize all your debts are paid. You feel the prosperous silence of a bank account that is overflowing. This is not fantasy. It is the preparation of your biological receiver. Your quantum double needs a clear target to aim for. If your feeling is, I hope this works, the target is blurry. If your feeling is, this is an established fact, the target is locked. Braden often shares the story of the indigenous rainmakers. They don't pray for rain, they pray rain. They feel the mud between their toes, they smell the wet earth, and they feel the raindrops on their skin. They inhabit the rain before a single cloud appears in the sky. As an independent strategist, you must pray money in the same way. You must feel the prosperous flow in your life before the check arrives. You must be so convinced of your new reality that the old reality starts to feel like a dream that no longer belongs to you.
This is why I insisted on the word prosperous instead of just rich. Rich is a number. Prosperous is a state of being. It is an inexhaustible flow. When you command the Matrix with the frequency of prosperity, you aren't just asking for a one-time payment. You are asking for a permanent change in your quantum zip code. You are moving to a timeline where abundance is the default setting. The Matrix recognizes this sovereign command and begins to rearrange the physical world, people, opportunities, and luck to match your internal state. Remember, the Matrix is non-local. Your command reaches the other side of the universe instantly. The only thing that causes delay is your own vibrational interference, your doubts, your fears, and your habit of looking at the current lack for confirmation. Stop looking for confirmation. Be the confirmation. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the command. The feeling is the checkmate. In the next block, we are going to talk about the shattering of old loops. I will show you how to cut the quantum threads that are still tying you to the poverty of your past and your ancestors, using Braden's insights on how beliefs literally edit our physical and financial reality. The shattering of old loops, breaking the entanglement with poverty. If you have understood that the Matrix is a mirror and that your heart is the transmitter, you might still be asking, why isn't it working yet? Why do I still feel the pull of my old life? The answer lies in the residual entanglements. Gregg Braden explains that we are not just a single particle. We are part of a holographic lineage. You are currently carrying the frequency archives of your parents, your grandparents, and the collective Maya of the society you live in. These are what I call quantum loops, patterns of scarcity that keep repeating like a broken record because they are encoded in your cellular memory. Most people are unknowingly emaranjados with the poverty of their ancestors. If your father believed that money is hard to get, or if your mother lived in a constant state of financial fear, those vibrations are etched into the field you inhabit. To the divine matrix, these are commands. Even if you think you want to be prosperous, your biology is broadcasting the old family signal of survival. This is why you feel a rubber band effect. You take 2 steps forward toward wealth, and then a sudden disaster pulls you 3 steps back. You aren't being cursed, you are simply caught in an old loop. As an independent strategist, I had to perform a quantum audit on my own life. I had to look at my recurring financial problems and realize they weren't accidents. They were reflections of these ancestral loops. Braden shows us that our beliefs literally edit our DNA and consequently the field around us. If you believe that money changes people for the worse or that it's noble to be poor, you are effectively putting a filter over the matrix. You are telling the field, don't let the money get too close, it's dangerous. To shatter these loops, you must use the power of conscious observation. Remember the observer effect. Once you observe a pattern for what it truly is, a mere piece of outdated data, it loses its power to hold you. You must stand as a sovereign initiate and declare a vibrational divorce from the scarcity of your past. You must realize that you are not a continuation of your family's financial struggle. You are the point of divergence. You are the one who has decided to unentangle from the slug pace and merge with the light speed of the quantum double. This process is uncomfortable because these loops often define our sense of belonging. If everyone in your circle is struggling, being prosperous can feel like a betrayal. But Braden's work suggests that the greatest gift you can give to the matrix and to your lineage is to break the loop. When you change your frequency, you send a ripple backward and forward through time. You are effectively editing the archive for those who come after you. You are becoming the first generation of the leap. Think of these loops as quantum viruses. They thrive on your reaction. When a bill arrives and you feel that familiar ancestral panic, the virus is fed. But when you achieve the mirror silence we discussed, you starve the virus. You stop participating in the loop. You look at the scarcity and you say, I see you, but I am no longer entangled with you. I am the matrix, and I am choosing a new coordinate. This is the act of shattering. It is a cold, strategic decision to stop being the effect of a past you didn't even choose. In the divine matrix, there is no such thing as it's always been this way. That is a linear lie. In the quantum field, everything is always being created right now. Every second is a fresh chance to rewrite the code. But you must be willing to let the old you die. Most people want the wealth of the new version while keeping the safety of the old version's excuses. It doesn't work that way. The entanglement with poverty must be completely severed to allow the entanglement with prosperity to fully precipitate. You are a sovereign independent. You are no longer bound by the social contracts of lack. You are no longer a slave to the economic weather. When you shatter the old loops, you move into a state of quantum autonomy. You become a fixed point in the field, a person who dictates their own reality regardless of the echoes of the past. Your bank account is about to reflect this new autonomy, but only if you stop looking back. In the next and final block, we are going to talk about the Precipitation Protocol. I will show you how to close the gap between the feeling and the fact. I will give you the final roadmap to ensure your shift is permanent, and we will conclude with our traditional gratitude and the essential resources waiting for you in the description. The Precipitation Protocol, closing the gap. We have reached the final stage of our journey through the divine matrix. You have learned about the science of entanglement, the power of the heart, the holographic command, and how to shatter the old loops of scarcity. Now, we must discuss the Precipitation Protocol. This is the practical bridge that turns the invisible vibration in your heart into the visible cash in your hand. In the science of Gregg Braden, precipitation is the moment when the wave of possibility collapses into the particle of experience. It is when the information of being prosperous becomes the matter of wealth. To close the gap, you must master the art of quantum consistency. Most people fail because they are prosperous for 10 minutes during a meditation, but then spend the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of the day entangled with the problems of the Maya. They send a pulse of wealth into the matrix and then immediately cancel it with a pulse of doubt. As an independent strategist, you must maintain the frequency of arrival until the physical world has no choice but to conform. You must act, speak, and breathe as if the shift has already happened. This isn't about spending money you don't have. It's about inhabiting the sovereignty of someone who no longer worries about money. The Precipitation Protocol requires you to look for micro-evidences. The matrix will start sending you small signals that the entanglement is working. A small unexpected discount, a phone call from an old lead, or even seeing mirror hours like 11:11 or 22:22 everywhere. These are not coincidences. They are the ripples reaching your shore. When you see them, you must acknowledge them with the checkmate feeling. You say, "I see the matrix responding. It is done." This acknowledgement reinforces the entanglement and accelerates the precipitation. You are moving from the waiting timeline to the receiving timeline. Before we conclude, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you for staying with me until the end of this video. By watching this entire deep dive, you have proven that you are not part of the 99% who live on the surface. You are a sovereign initiate, ready to master the hidden mechanics of this world. It is an honor to have you in this community, and I am grateful for your time, your energy, and your commitment to your own expansion. If this message has shifted something inside you, subscribe to the channel now. Your presence here helps us strengthen the signal of this strategic lighthouse and reach more people who are ready to wake up from the illusion of lack. We are building a network of prosperous minds, and you are an essential part of it. Now, to help you stabilize this new frequency, I have placed the links to the essential books that decode the divine matrix and the archive of futures in the video description. These books were the turning point in my own identity transition, and they will be yours too. Also, don't forget to download the free PDF guide on mirror hours that I've provided in the description. Use it to decode the signals your quantum double is sending you as you navigate this shift. Thank you for being with us. I look forward to hearing about your results in the comments. Keep your heart coherent, your vision sharp, and your entanglement fixed on the gold. I am Caroline, and I will see you in the next video.